What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So, hold on a second. Alexa, turn on lights. Make sure y'all can see me. All right. So, happy Father's Day to all my other fathers out there. Got a bunch of stuff to do in the garage today. So I've been kind of slacking. It's, I live in Phoenix. I do heating and air conditioning. So we've been 105 to 110 for the last 2 weeks. So haven't really had much time to come in the garage, do what I want to do, stuff like that. And I've been kind of procrastinating a little bit just because, some stuff I got to do is not fun. So let's get into the intro, and then I'm going to turn this camera around and we'll go from there. Also, remember, holla at my boy. He trying to do this for a living. I do it for fun. It's how I clear my head. So holla at my boy. All right. All right, everybody. So this is where I am at. Currently, this is the 6.0, project 700 horsepower. That's the goal. So I got this head right here on. I had torqued everything down, went to start turning it over to measure for the push rods, and found out that I'd used the wrong head gaskets. It was my fault. When I went to the auto parts store, I told the guy, Silverado 1500, and he gave me gaskets for a 5.3, which are a little too small. So I need to pull that head back off, put on the correct head gasket. I did get a set of chromatic head gaskets. What I ended up doing was I went with the 40,000 thickness head gasket over the 50,000 thickness stock head gasket. Since I made the mistake, I decided, you know what, I would like to give this thing a little bump in compression, because with the 317 heads, factory would have been about 9-1. I wanted about a 9.5 to 9.7. So with the block being decked, the heads being resurfaced, everything like that, a little shorter of a head gasket should put me in that 9.5 to 9.7 compression ratio range. Then kind of playing with some of the accessory stuff. What I am going to do today is I had painted the heads a little color. I decided I'm gonna go black on them. Still leave the polished part, but go black on that part of it. I think it's gonna make it pop a little bit more. So that's my goal once I take this head off, because this side still has the wrong size head gasket. And then pull all the bracket stuff back off. I'll just kind of test fitting most of it. Got the manual tensioner, got a new crank pulley in, haven't put it in. I actually have the power steering pulley, which kind of pisses me off a little bit because this pulley is a underdrive pulley. I wanted something a little bit smaller, but I didn't realize it was going to have problems with those bolts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how these are countersunk. I'm going to drill this bracket out here, and here. Use countersunk bolts. That way I won't have any clearance issues with that pulley on there. So I'm gonna get to that here shortly. Next is I gotta pull this out because I want to use this spot to kind of work on everything. Then let's get back over to my baby. This poor thing been sitting like this for damn near 2 weeks. I do heating and air conditioning. It's been 105 to 110 these last 2 weeks, so I really haven't had much time to mess with it. But I typically try to mess with it a little bit here and there after work, hour here or whatever, before I start relaxing and stuff and, chilling with the family. So I got my cradles. This is kind of what I was using when I was first building the truck, to have it up in the air. So I'm going to put the front end back on the cradles. That's my goal. So that way when I get home, I can slowly but surely just start taking little stuff off here and there, because I need to drop that axle to weld everything. So, and that's why this part is not fun. But I miss driving this truck, so I need to get this done. So I did order 2 sets of coilover brackets. I'm kind of see which one works best for what I'm trying to do. One's a single and one's a double. Once I get them back out, I'll show you. Currently, one's just hanging on there right now, and the other ones are inside. But I'm gonna get this jacked up, get the Honda out the way, and stop yapping and get to it. Okay, so got the truck up, fronts on the cradles. I'm gonna slowly but surely just start messing with this rear, getting everything off, and you know, tackling this whole coil bracket situation. Now I do got to drain the gas out of this thing because when I parked it, it did have a full tank of gas, and the axle's close to the tank since it sits underneath, and I don't really want to be grinding and doing all that kind of stuff. So what I think I'm going to do is use paint stripper on the axle. That way I can get everything tacked up without having to grind and create any sparks. So that's what we're going to do with that. Got the Civic out, but I want to show you guys the two brackets. So with the brackets, I ordered two sets. So I got a set like these, which is a double one like that. Now this is only for a shock mount, not a full coilover setup because I am on airbags. But this one's probably overkill, but I think I'm going to use it. This one right here, I think would have worked just fine. With the bracket here, I was thinking about just putting a spacer in between to kind of take up that distance. But because on the instruction, it didn't really say how far down you could go. So where it sits currently right now, I don't have to replace shocks. This one, I might have to go with just slightly a shorter shock. So, but once I get them up there, if there is no problem or nothing's in the way, I'm going with this one. If there's going to be something in the way or something, then I'm most likely going to go with this one. So, but here's the one that broke. Now, pretty much just kind of ripped off. Now, the thing that kind of gets me a little bit, if you look at this, look at the thickness in that one versus this one. Yeah, not really happy about that being so thin, but like I just said at the time, I didn't know any difference, but you know, it is what it is. You know, that's racing, that's modifying, that's just life when you're in this car industry. So here's the other head that wasn't on there that goes on the passenger side. So I'm gonna tape everything off, and then I'm gonna start painting this one black. And then I'm gonna surely get this one off so I can paint it black. And then I'm gonna try to finish putting, I wanna have the heads, the push rods, everything in this thing torqued down, valve covers, everything on by the end of today. And then in between while I'm kind of getting a break, I'll start pulling the wheels off, basically trying to clear what I can on the truck to get those brackets welded up. So let's get to it. All right, so I got this head all painted up, taped, everything like that. So we'll see how it comes out. Not a big fan of when I paint them black because, you know, can't really see oil leaks and all that kind of stuff, but it just fit better for this application, or the way I want it to look, I should say. All right, gonna be a little noisy because the fan's on, that one on, plus the AC, because it's gonna be 105 today, I believe. So let's get this stuff taken apart. All right, now my push rod length checker. So I went with 7.350 push rods. It measured out to 7.3. I like my, you know, I guess you put, you know, like 50,000 worth of preload on the, you know, on the lifters. I'll start trying to remember. So I'm gonna start putting all these head bolts out and get this head off so I can get it painted. Got head off. Here was that head gasket I was talking about. So I don't know if you can see in the camera, but now it does spin freely. Before it was catching when it was coming up, so I could feel it was causing an issue. So I'm gonna save these because these are the same size that are on the truck, so ain't no point of discarding them. Okay, so I got one head on and pretty much drying. Just painted the, I don't know why I said on, but just painted this one. So I need to throw one more coat on it. So I'm gonna let it dry for a little bit and then we'll get back at it. Okay, so I got the tape and everything off of one of the cylinder heads. Got it put back, just sitting up there. But I think that black is definitely gonna do its trick. You know, you don't really notice it as much because you still get a lot of the, you know, I guess the shiny part. But yeah, I think I made the right decision there. So, yep, don't mind the fan. It's hot. I just got to get the tape off of that one and get it sit on, and then we'll start putting the push rods in and go from there. So both cylinder heads are on, but yeah, I'm thinking I'm liking the black. Yeah, I guess we'll see more as I start to get it on. So if I haven't mentioned, I think I did mention Beehive Springs, trunnion upgrade. But yeah, so I'm gonna get all that stuff put back in, get the heads torqued down, and then I can get the push rods, everything in, and almost button up these heads. This is where it starts to get tough. You start to feel that. Woo! Yeah, I feel it. Okay, so head studs, bolts, whatever you want to call them, are all torqued down. Everything's ready to go. It's 30, 60, 90. These are like 28 foot-pounds. So, you know, the star pattern, boom, 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 boom. We're good. All right, and then clink the push rods. About to put these in, put a little lube on the bottom. And start sliding. Come on, man, this thing empty. Looking like it might be a little empty. Okay, so I decided, you know, I was gonna try to put this Motion Raceworks, you know, what are these things called? Steam port kit on. There's no instructions. It just has this one little paper here. I thought was the instructions I was gonna read before I start filming it, but it just tells you what line is what, and that's pretty much it. Like, it don't say if you need put Teflon still on the threads, which, I mean, you should, but you would think you would tell people who didn't know that, you know. So
I guess I'm going to improvise. Because what if you don't have internet? You know, so I felt they should at least give instructions, especially for what this thing cost. Hell, I bet you that Evil Energy one probably come with instructions. If I'd have dropped that in that hole, man, I would have been so pissed. I'm gonna stick something in there. I'm guessing you should put a little Loctite in them, but I'm just getting them on for right now, and then because when I put this motor in, I'm pretty much going to pull this up to put my lift plate on anyway. So I'm just trying to get most of the parts on here so they're not just sitting in the garage and eventually possibly get lost or something. Yeah, I'm gonna stick some of those two back holes to plug them. See, this is what I do in the garage. Put a little video on, a little YouTube. This is PFI Speed. Watching these Honda boys do their racing. But let's get back to it.
So I ain't gonna lie, this thing was a little confusing. I was starting to think I was stupid. I'm trying to how to get that to line up as far as the little sheet that they gave you. But they give you this one here that doesn't have anything to run to. Well, let me get back some. So it has a nipple that's supposed to go there, and then you're supposed to run it from a hose to wherever your steam port is. I have some extra brake line left over from when I did the truck. I'm gonna make my own to run into that little, was it that 1/8 MPT fitting right there. Okay, got steam port set up on. Curious to see if it's gonna clear with the manifold, I mean the intake manifold, no problem. But made my little steam port middle line. It goes to that little fitting there. So we're moving along quite well. I'm gonna put the valve covers on now and then start getting the front stuff back on. I'm hoping my glasses are charged back up. That's why I'm not using the POV. But let's keep at it. So it does look like we clear with no problem. So get back. Yeah, she's coming along. She's coming along. Yeah. She's coming out pretty good. I'm gonna start putting the accessory bracket on the front. Okay, so there is the motor, engine, whatever you want to call it. So pretty much got everything the way it needs to be. I do need to order the correct Torx 40 plus to get that down, but I'm kind of stuck a little bit. I think this crank pulley is not going all the way down. I think it's hitting the keyway. I won't know until I start trying to put a belt on it and try to get stuff aligned. But I just didn't feel like fighting with it, trying to get it back off since I had to fight with getting it on because things are tight. And I'm waiting on the AC compressor to come in so that way I know if this is all lined up correctly with this back one, so that'll help. And got the turbo manifold on. Got the valve covers, everything on. The manifold's just kind of sitting on there. But for the most part, she done. I never touched this today, but it is in a position for me to start messing with it once I get home from work. You know, so I guess that would be the end of Sunday Fun Day for me. All right, everybody. So that is a wrap for a Sunday Fun Day in the garage. Happy Father's Day to all the other fathers out there. And I want to thank my kids for Father's Day. They got together and got me the turbo for the motor. So I did go with the Richard Holdener, I think it's the GT42 turbo. So it should be enough to easily give me my 600 to 700 wheel horsepower that I'm looking for. But like always, everybody, I want to say thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next Adventures of Kenny. Peace.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe and follow. Much love from Little Yas to